I was in a restaurant last night that had a local a station on, and Boris, what's his face, Epstein, came on.
Sinclair.
All right.
It must be a Sinclair media channel.
He's mandated Sinclair commentary.
Yeah, they've upped the quota like 3 times how many commentaries they need to run.
Well, yeah, and Sinclair had a deal with the Trump administration, and they got their payback with the FCC awarding of their being able to buy all those stations. And it really occurred to me. I mean, a guy just comes on like it's like he's a news commentator. But I don't know why they just have a guy who worked on the Trump administration is now as the commentator, and that's it. There's nobody to refute it. Everybody just sort of looks around as if this is like, oh wow, we got this great thinker, Boris. And
there is
it occurred to me
I'm sorry, Sam. Go ahead.
Well, it just occurred to me we are 5 or 10 years out from probably realizing like, oh my God, we're really getting destroyed in the media again. And it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a real problem.
I was also like the other thing that you notice about Boris is that there's no element of like, hey, this guy, I saw him as a campaign surrogate, and he's got some real chops for TV.
Right.
It's like, the authoritarian is 1984, but they say this about Mr. Trump because.
Low bar.
They hate.
Low bar, in other words. All right, but in the meantime, on Skywatch TV, Mark Taylor, who is a former firefighter.
Who's now wrote the Trump conspiracy, or the Trump, I'll look it up, but I think it's mentioned in here. It's like the Trump prophecies, actually, is what it's called.
Yeah, the Trump prophecy, because he was a prophet who 5 years ago, folks, back only when people would speculate about Donald Trump running for office, because in 2012 he, tested the waters. You'll recall, and Mitt Romney had to go and kiss the ring. In fact, they all kissed his ring. But this former firefighter was convinced that Donald Trump would run and win. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a prophet. Here he is.
Just a couple of minutes. What were you told, if anything, about why Donald Trump now?
It wasn't so much as now, I guess, as it is what his purpose was. And that was to help turn America around. And it's not just America. What people have to understand, this is the battle for the entire earth right now.
Earth.
And
Goddamn right.
God right now has denied the enemy's timeline. That is the bottom line. And that's why you're seeing the enemy kicking and screaming right now. He has denied the timeline of what they thought they were going to accomplish. And now it's going to be the army of God now who's going to take the fight to the enemy so that the gospel can go forth throughout the earth. And they see that. We've cut the head off that snake November 8th, so to speak, and now it's kicking and screaming. It's not liking it. So right now you're going to see victory.
Wait a second. Pause it. I want you to go back a second. But did he say that they cut the head off the snake and now the snake is kicking? Is that the...
And screaming.
And screaming. Without it.
The screaming I get, because you could just gargling through
gargle.
After the head's cut off, you can still scream.
But what happens? Like you get your head cut off as a snake and then you grow legs and you start to kick? I don't get it. But go ahead.
You're not a prophet.
No.
We've cut the head off that snake November 8th, so to speak, and now it's kicking and screaming. It's not liking it. So right now you're going to see victory after victory after victory for the army of God right now. So, but it was more so as timing, because this was all supposed to really go down in 2012 is what the Lord told me. Because I thought it was supposed to happen in 2012. And the Lord said, no, my people weren't ready yet. That's why I allowed Obama to stay in for another 4 years, so that they could build a righteous anger and say enough is enough, and they would rise to the occasion, which is exactly what we saw happen.
Okay.
This is what happens when you have a devil talk prophecy.
Man, God really, if God really is responsible for Donald Trump, super sense of humor. All those years, right? Convincing us it was all about piety, and then it's going to be Donald Trump. I love it.
Well, look, when we go to phase 2, and Michelle and I work on our presidential library project, which all I'll say is might involve some innovative plans for the 9/11 memorial. We'll see what happens with phase 2. There's real prophecy. Allahu Akbar.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos